Doug is the newest mythic brawler coming to the game, and he is the second brawler in the Velociraptors trio along with Buzz. He is super laid back and doesn't really care much about anything, which is kind of the opposite of Buzz, who is very strict about everything. I'm pretty confident that he works at the hot dog stand at the water park or something like that, but just like Buzz, we see a little zipper on his back, and so we can only assume he's not actually a real dinosaur.
Snack attack! Sausage of salvation! Hot dog!
I'm gonna show the rest of his super chill voice lines at the end of this video, but before we move on, guys, you gotta subscribe. We are so close to 1 million subs, so comment below, #sub before 1 mil, and let's make it happen. Hot Dog's main attack is Snack Attack. Yes, Hot Dog, that's right. He makes his big splash all around himself that deals more damage the closer he is to targets. He also heals teammates that are hit by the attack, and the amount of health that they recover is also dependent on how close they are to Doug. Other than that, though, his attacks are pretty much exactly like Jackie's main attack. It deals its damage instantly, it can hit through walls, it can hit any number of targets that are within its range. It's pretty simple, but that doesn't mean Doug's not going to be very good. Doug's super is second serving, and this is where I think he actually has some pretty good potential. If he auto-aims, he gives himself a hot dog, and if he aims the hot dog, he can actually hit teammates, which will mean that while they're holding that hot dog, it will bring them back to life. Now, brawlers that are revived with this ability come back to life with half of their total health and 1 more ammo than what they had when they were defeated. The hot dog will only stay up for 5 seconds before it disappears, so there's a small window of time where you have to die or else the super is just wasted. In order for Doug to use it on a teammate, he actually has to hit them with a projectile, so if he misses, the super is wasted. The projectile cannot go through walls and obviously only works on brawlers. And unlike respawning normally, there is no time where you are immune, so you can immediately start taking damage as soon as you're revived. What's great about Doug is he can heal his teammates once they do get revived. Doug's first gadget is Double Sausage. This makes it so that Doug's next attack will deal no damage at all, but it will heal teammates for double the amount that it normally would. This is obviously really great when enemies are nowhere in range and you need to heal a teammate that obviously needs it. Doug's second gadget is Extra Mustard. This gadget is pretty much the opposite of the first one. It makes it so that he will not heal at all with his next attack, but his next attack will deal double the damage. Interestingly enough, it will also double the amount of super charge from the next attack as well. Doug's first star power is Fast Food. Any brawler that gets revived by Doug's super, including himself, will get a buff to their movement speed for 3 seconds. Now, just to be clear, it is not the super that triggers the speed boost, so you actually have to die and be revived in order to get the boost. Doug's second star power is Self-Service. This star power allows Doug to heal himself 20% of the healing that each of his main attacks would heal. Keep in mind that the healing from his main attack as well as this star power are affected by any kind of damage boost. So if you increase the damage he deals, you'll also increase the amount that he heals. This star power also gets affected by his first gadget, so he will heal himself double the amount if you use it. This is going to give Doug a lot of HP because he can heal pretty much anywhere. Now it's time to put Doug through the test and compare him to the rest of the brawlers in the game. But I do want to quickly mention that between the time that I recorded most of these tests and when Doug is actually released, he received a couple of buffs to his reload speed and his health, so some of the tests might not 100% be accurate, but they are going to be close enough. Let's start off with the attack range test. Okay, Doug's attack is a circle that he is in the center of, so it can't be aimed anywhere. Its radius is 2 2/3 tiles long, so he ties with Edgar and Jackie for having the shortest range in the game. Next, we have the boss test. Doug definitely does not have the fastest reload speed, and he only deals an average amount of damage even when he's right on top of the boss. He gets a little help from 3 of his gadgets, but it still takes him 51.1 seconds to defeat the boss, and that puts him in 63rd place out of the 70 brawlers in the game. Next is the super range test, and his super has a range of 6 1/3 tiles, which is just a little bit further than Nita is able to throw her bear. It's enough to put him in 57th place. For the super damage test, his super can't deal any damage, so he actually ties with 13 other brawlers for 57th place. Next is the assassin test, and he's only able to fire his first 3 ammo in those 3 seconds, but one of those attacks gets power doubled from his gadget. He deals a total of 7,200 damage, which puts him in 56th place, and that's enough to actually 3-shot most brawlers in the game. Next is the supercharge test. It takes him 5 hits with max damage to charge Doug's super, but since his second gadget also doubles the supercharge rate, he only needs 4 ammo to actually fully charge it. It takes him 30.1 seconds to charge his super, so he ties with Fang, Tara, Jackie, and Jean for 47th place. Next is the area test. Doug's range is very short, but it also covers a lot of area around him. His super also breaks a couple of skulls behind him, but he doesn't get any help from either of his gadgets. In total, he breaks 55 skulls, and that ties him with Bonnie for 42nd place. Next is the 1 second DPS test, and he's only able to unload 2 attacks in 1 second, but once again, his gadget adds a lot of extra damage to one of those. He's able to deal 5,400 damage in 1 second, and that puts him in 41st place. Now, up until this point, Doug has been worse than half of the brawlers, and from this point on, he's better than half of them. Starting off with the race test, and unfortunately, the only ability that Doug has to actually speed himself up requires him to die, and that doesn't work in the race test. So he instead relies on his fast movement speed and ties with 8 other brawlers for 34th place. Next is the swarm test, and Doug uses his gadget to instantly take out half of the bots with just 1 attack. Very satisfying. The bots that are close to him are destroyed with only 1 ammo, but the bots on the outer edges of his attack require 2 ammo to take out, so he has to reload a couple of shots at the end. Doug defeats the swarm in 5.3 seconds and gets 34th place. And this does suggest he'll be pretty good at dealing with multiple enemies, as long as they're bunched up, obviously. Next is the reload test. Now, I did re-record this test after Doug had his reload speed buffed, so this one is accurate to what he'll be released like. It takes him 18.7 seconds to unload and reload 10 shots, and that puts him in 30th place. Next is the auto aim test, and since Doug's attacks deal its damage instantly, this test is just a matter of attack range and how close the brawler is to determine the damage. He's able to deal 2,160 damage thanks to his gadget from 4 tiles away, and he gets 28th place. I think you're going to be just fine auto aiming with him. Next, we have the 3 attack kill test, and as we saw in the assassin test, Doug's able to deal 5,400 damage with no help from his gadget and 7,200 damage with help of his gadget, and that is enough to 3-shot 60 brawlers in the game and ties him with Ash, Sam, and Dynamite for 26th place. Next is the box test, and this was actually a really difficult test to perfect because it actually took some serious precision to be as close to the boxes as possible without also hitting the next group of boxes with the same attack. With the help of all 3 of his gadgets and his attack, he can hit multiple boxes at once, and Doug is able to complete this box test in 34 seconds, which puts him in 16th place and suggests he's going to be pretty good at ramping up in solo showdown. Next is the splash test, and Doug uses a gadget which helps him take out a few boxes in the center with his first 3 attacks. Each of his attacks hit all of the boxes, so he only needs to reload 1 shot to take out the remaining boxes. Doug finishes the splash test in 3.1 seconds, which puts him in 4th place. Finally, we have Doug's best test, and that is the survival test. Doug has some of the most total health in the game, and his 2nd star power allows him to recover so much HP over time. He even gets a little help from his first gadget, since it doubles the healing from his attack. This test was also recorded with his new HP at 7,200 HP at max level, and it's the only test that actually gets to utilize his super, which brings him back to health at half health, which helps him a lot in this case. It takes the sniper bot 78.3 seconds to finally take Doug out, which is enough to put him in 3rd place. And for reference, that is the longest that a brawler has survived that the sniper bot's actually able to kill. There's just 2 other brawlers that are able to survive infinitely just because of the way their healing mechanics work. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Doug's going to be good at surviving. Now, Doug's very like a weird brawler. He's a support brawler, and he's a tank, and also he's fast, and like, how is he going to measure up to all the other support brawlers in each game mode, right? First up, we have Gem Grab, and I'm going to put him in the B tier, and most tanks that have short ranges do not make good gem carriers. However, he has a lot of health, he can heal himself, and with his super, he can temporarily remove all the gems that he's carrying from the game. Because if he dies, the gems don't just fall back onto the ground, they stay with him until he comes back. Even when he's not the gem carrier, he can protect a gem carrier by throwing his super at them as well, and then he can also heal them, which is just crazy. Now, he does have a pretty short attack range, so I don't think he's gonna be super good at controlling the map very well. When paired up with the right brawlers, I think that he's actually gonna be pretty solid, so I think B tier is pretty solid for him. Next, we have Brawl Ball, and I'm gonna give him A tier, okay? Most close range tanky brawlers are a little bit better for Brawl Ball simply because they're more likely to move up the map toward the enemy goal, and he's got a lot of survivability. Unless the map is very open, Doug's gonna be great for attacking around walls, walking the ball into the enemy goal, and even protecting his own goal when things get really tight. I absolutely think he deserves the A tier for Brawl Ball. Next, we have Heist, which I'm gonna go with B tier, and here's why. He doesn't have a whole lot of DPS or even range. He can't really deal very much damage to the Heist from a distance or safely, but I don't think he's completely terrible because he does have his super, which can bring him back up. I could see it being pretty useful for reviving a close range brawler that's attacking the enemy safe, because they get revived with an extra ammo and half health, which can end up putting a lot more damage on the safe depending on what brawler gets revived. Just imagine him reviving a bull and then also healing the bull while both he and the bull are on the enemy safe. It's going to be very difficult to take them out unless you have a high damaging splash brawler like, I don't know, maybe Terra are Frank. For Bounty, I think it's pretty safe to say he's going to be C tier. His super is obviously going to be really good in this mode because it can actually be used to protect teammates with lots of stars. However, it's going to be very hard for him to charge his super even just once because of how open a lot of Bounty maps are. Not to mention the fact that a lot of brawlers that are played in Bounty are typically pretty long range, so I think C tier makes sense. As for Hot Zone, I could see him being A tier. It's going to depend a lot on the map, but Hot Zone could be one of his best game modes as long as there are lots of walls for him to hide behind within the zones, and there are maps like that. So if he has enough cover, his attacks and health are going to make it nearly impossible to get him and his teammates out of the zone. I'm also thinking that he's going to be an even better brawler than Byron for the triple heal comp along with Pam and Poco, or maybe even some tanks. Like, I think that people don't realize how strong Doug is going to be paired up with specific brawlers that are really good at healing or that are really high HP. Playing with randoms, he's probably going to suck though. I don't know. We'll see. As for Knockout, I'm definitely going to go with B tier. He's going to struggle in early game each round since his attack range is just so small, but at least he can help keep his other teammates alive or even just heal them behind walls, right? If he can't survive long enough for the smoke to push everyone close together, he's honestly going to be one of the best brawlers in the game for those tight situations. And that's why I think B tier is at least justified for Knockout. As for Solo Showdown, this is tough. I could see him being an A tier, maybe even S tier, with the exception of the fact that his range is so short, okay? A lot of times Solo Showdown, it makes a huge difference if you're just able to survive for 1 or 2 extra seconds. And having his super that he's gonna auto aim and use on himself so that he gets revived, that extra life is very strong in Solo Showdown. But as a short range brawler, enemies are gonna pick on him left and right. And he's just not gonna be able to deal with them very easily. So it's a little bit of a toss up, but I think the B tier for Solo Showdown is pretty justifiable. As for Duo Showdown, I think he's gonna be S tier. Doug's super by itself is enough to make him one of the best brawlers for Duo Showdown. On top of that, every one of his attacks can easily heal his teammate since it's really easy to stick together in this mode rather than in 3v3 modes where you typically split up into 3 different lanes. So like always healing your teammate, Doug can always heal himself, he can revive himself, he can revive a teammate. Duo Showdown is like Doug's mode. I don't know, like Doug could be really terrible, he could be game-breakingly strong depending on which map and mode you're playing and which teammates you have, and I'm really curious to see how strong he is once he's released. But I want to know what you guys think of Doug, so let me know in the comment section below, and once again, I'd really appreciate you guys subscribing, and you know what? If you don't, you're never gonna be able to say you were subbed before 1 mil.
Think I left my sunscreen at home. Nope, not feeling it. I'm like toast with no jam. Like a burnt chicken nugget. Hey, gotta give credit where due. Snack break. Taking that L. Dude! Dude! Why me, bruh? Oh, that was not my moment. I'm only here for the sunscreen. Stay chill, bruh. Let's just hang. Feeling the salt crunch. Go easy. Keep it cheesy. Dude. Dude. Hey, take it easy, bruh. Hey, it's not that serious, bruh. Hey, kiddie pool? Other way. Ooh, the tide is turning. Just when you thought it was safe, I arrived. Splash damage. Don't choke on your food, bruh. Snack attack. Keeping it crispy. Easy pickings. Dude, that was clutch. Hey, check it out. I got more moves than a synchronized swim team. Riding the wave of victory, Brohemians. I dived into battle and came out splashing. I'm jamming, bro. My milkshake brings all the kids to the pool. Light work. Dude, I'm not a fighter, I'm a floater. Going in at the deep end, my dudes. Let's dive into this splashy showdown. Yo, be prepared for some mildly effective lifeguarding. Come with me, little swimmers. Time for an adventure. Yo, I got the munchies. Whoa, my dudes. Yo, where my peeps at? Come at me, bruh. Hot dog. Oh, food fight. Sausage of salvation. Protein power. You've been served. Munch the meaty goodness, bruh. Ha-ha, devour the dog. Mighty meat treat that'll keep you on your feet. Doggy dog. All toppings. A wiener is you. Yo, don't be a whiner. Have a wiener.
If you haven't watched the Cordelius Olympics, you can check it out right there. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by. Let me know what you think about Doug in the comment section below. We'll see you in the next video.